Nearly 40% of Americans now believe the entire institution of marriage is becoming obsolete. This is not simply a metric of rising divorce rates. It is a fundamental crisis of confidence in one of our oldest social institutions. Why are so many people losing faith in the very concept of lifelong commitment? The answer lies not in external societal pressures, but in a radical internal shift regarding what marriage is actually for. We have entered the era of the me marriage. In this modern framework, personal fulfillment has become the ultimate and overriding goal. The foundational question has devolved from asking what we are building together to asking what I am extracting for myself. How did a lifelong covenant transform into a simple consumer transaction? Historically, marriage was a pragmatic institution, built for social stability and economic survival. The Enlightenment shifted this paradigm. It elevated individual happiness as a worthy and primary pursuit. Today, that philosophy has mutated into an all-consuming obsession with self-fulfillment. What happens when this me-first mentality takes over a relationship? It acts as an accelerant for four distinct, highly destructive behavioral patterns. The first is criticism, where a simple complaint escalates into a character assassination. This is quickly followed by contempt, breeding a toxic environment of disgust and superiority. Then comes defensiveness, marked by an absolute refusal to acknowledge any personal fault. Finally, the cycle ends in stonewalling. This is where one partner builds a wall and completely refuses to engage. If the consumer-driven marriage is the root of this crisis, what is the actual antidote? The solution requires a complete structural reframing of the institution itself. We must abandon the concept of the consumer contract and embrace the mindset of a covenant. A contract is purely conditional. It is built entirely on performance and mutual benefit. If one side fails to deliver, the entire agreement is nullified. A covenant, however, is anchored by an unconditional promise. It is a steadfast commitment of the will, designed to outlast the fleeting tides of human emotion. How does this abstract ideal of a covenant actually function in our daily lives? It begins by reframing the mission of marriage as a profoundly deep friendship. At the absolute core of this friendship is a radical redefinition of intimacy. Intimacy is not a passive emotion. It is the active, vulnerable choice to practice intimacy. It requires allowing another human being to witness the absolute truth of who you are, without filter or pretense. This unique bond is meant to be fruitful, reciprocal, enjoyable, and devoted. Above all, it must be sanctifying. This means the relationship actively forces both individuals to grow into better versions of themselves. How do two people sustain this intense level of vulnerability? It requires a permanent shift in motivation, abandoning selfishness in favor of service. Our job is not to live for ourselves, but for the other person. This concept completely rejects our modern culture's endless, mythic quest for a flawless soulmate. The goal is never to find a perfect person who meets your every demand. The goal is learning to serve an imperfect person with a perfect, unwavering commitment. Why should anyone willingly undertake such incredibly difficult, sacrificial work? The answer decenters the couple entirely. The true purpose of marriage is about something vastly larger than the two people within it. Even your own personal happiness, while deeply desirable, is not the ultimate objective. If marriage is not primarily about our own happiness, what is its true function? It is designed to be a living, breathing metaphor for a much greater spiritual reality. This is the theological bedrock of the entire covenant framework. It operates on a profound paradox. We are more flawed than we ever dare to believe, yet more loved and accepted than we ever dared to hope. Marriage becomes the ultimate training ground for this exact type of unconditional, grace-filled love. Two deeply flawed people learn to give and receive forgiveness, reflecting that larger truth to the world. This leaves us with one provocative, paradigm-shifting thought to consider. What if marriage isn't primarily designed to make you happy, but to make you holy.